In this video, we're just going to be looking at how the rate of inflation and the casualisation of the workforce can impact upon equity. So first of all, low inflation helps to improve equity, and there's a lot of reasons why low inflation is good for equity. The first one being that low inflation helps to boost our economic growth because it boosts our international competitiveness. So because low inflation keeps our exports competitive, that helps to keep jobs in Australia, reduce unemployment, and therefore more people are living on factor income as opposed to transfer income. The first reason low inflation is good for equity is because it promotes jobs in Australia and less people are on welfare. The second reason is it helps to protect the real wages of workers with little bargaining power. So we talked about those on unemployment benefits. Pensioners and low-skilled workers have the least bargaining power and their wages often fail to keep up with inflation. So low inflation helps to keep their purchasing power high, or helps to prevent low-income earners from experiencing a fall in their real wages. Third thing, low-income earners have a higher propensity to spend, so therefore they're less likely to benefit from high interest rates on savings. So they prefer low interest rates, and low interest rates are generally associated with low inflation. So again, it can help equity if we keep inflation low because the rich people don't benefit from high interest rates and low-income earners don't suffer. Low-income earners are also more likely to be in debt, and therefore they would suffer from higher interest rates. So generally, low-income earners are the ones with the biggest debt or the biggest loans, and therefore would have to pay back more money. So they would suffer from high inflation, one, because there's not as many jobs, two, because their real wages are likely to fall, and three, because they have more debt and would suffer from high interest rates. They benefit from low inflation because there's more jobs available, higher factor incomes, it protects their real wage, because they have the least bargaining power, and they benefit from lower interest rates because they generally are in debt. Casualisation of the labour force. Casualisation of the labour force has been increasing significantly in Australia, particularly after the GFC. Some reasons for this were there was more females that would prefer to work casually in the workforce. So females that had children would prefer to work casually so that it's more flexible and they can work around their children's, whether they're in kindergarten or school or things like that. More Australians were taking tertiary study, so when you're at university, a lot of people prefer to work casually so they can work around their exams and be more flexible. And the other reason for increased casualisation was that there was a drop in demand for labour due to the GFC and economic downturn. So there was more workforces that would prefer to hire people casually so that they could reduce their hours and be a bit more flexible. And that was often bad for workers because it led to them working less hours and reduced their incomes. So casualisation can either have a positive or a negative impact on equity. Bad casualisation for equity is when people are forced to become casual. So people would prefer to be working full-time or part-time, but because of economic growth, because of a lack of economic growth, or because businesses aren't sure about the level of demand for their products, they casualise their workforce, and therefore more people are working less hours, and that can lead to a higher Gini coefficient because a lot of low-skilled workers are only working sort of 15, 20 hours a week instead of being full-time, and therefore not bringing home as much money. So forced casualisation is bad for equity. But good casualisation is people that want that extra flexibility. So it's not that their employers don't want them to work as much, it's that they would prefer to be casual because it gives them more flexibility. So if people are part-time or casually employed because new jobs have been created that are only casual, or they're at university, or it's, again, mothers or fathers that want to be more flexible around their kids, then that's a form of good casualisation, and that can improve equity. So you really need to highlight what caused the increased casualisation. If it's caused by more workers being forced to reduce their hours, then it's bad for equity and can lower incomes for particularly low-skilled workers. If it's because people just want that extra flexibility, that's good casualisation. Thank you.